Hello and welcome. Again, well done. You're about halfway through your 28-day challenge now, so stay strong. Remember, if you want to ask us any questions, feel free to send us a message. Just hit send message and it'll go to me and Angus. Today's little lesson is going to be on why you can't out-train a bad diet. Okay, so here we go. So, it's called your TDEE, that is your total daily energy expenditure, and that means all of the calories that you burn in a single 24-hour period, all put together. So everything from exercise, from resting, from everything, that's your total daily energy expenditure. Everyone's is slightly different, okay? Now, it's broken up into these 4 sections here, and we're going to go through those slowly. So first up, we've got our BMR. This stands for your basal metabolic rate, and it contributes around about 70% to your total daily energy expenditure. Okay. Now, this means if you were to sit down or lay down rather for a 24-hour period and not move at all, that's how many calories your body would burn simply by staying alive. It varies amongst individuals depending on your lean muscle mass and how much muscle you've got essentially. So it's things like your digestion, your brain function, and your organ function. Okay, so as you can see, it's quite a large contributor to the overall energy expenditure in the day. Next up, we've got our NEAT, which stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. This contributes about 15% to your daily energy expenditure. So this means all of the movement that you're doing throughout the day that isn't exercise. So not, it could be, gesticulating like I am now, fidgeting, parking a few blocks away from work or the gym, movement around your house, things like that, cleaning, that comprises, that goes into your NEAT, okay? Now, as you can see, this is the second largest contributor to our daily energy expenditure. So that's why it's important to get your steps. So that's all of the health organizations are always telling us, make sure we aim for 10, 15,000 steps a day and make sure you get them. This is why, okay? You can significantly increase how many calories you're burning throughout the day if you're simply moving more, getting up more. If you're at a sit-down desk, just set an alarm once an hour. Just get up, move around for a couple of minutes. Maybe take a few extra bathroom breaks or something if you need an excuse. But yes, that's why it's very important if weight loss is a goal. The next one is our thermogenic effect of food. So this one is a little bit more complicated. It contributes about 10%, 5 to 10% of our daily energy expenditure, and it basically means the amount of energy that it costs to eat food. So chewing food, digesting food, storing food, processing, all of that all costs energy. So each macronutrient has a different value. We've got protein, carbs, and fats down here, and as you can see, protein has the highest. So that means that a high protein diet will use more of the energy you've eaten simply in processing that protein. So this is one of the reasons that a high protein diet is so successful for weight loss. You'll generally find you're more satisfied with protein. And in addition to that, you use more of that protein that you've just consumed in processing, storing, and using that protein. When you compare it to carbs and fats, it's obviously quite a lot higher. That's not to say you don't need carbs and fats, but it's a good idea to be focused on your protein, basically. It also helps build lean muscle, which again is important for building up our basal metabolic rate. So how much is food worth? So 100 grams, let me just move this, 100 grams of protein does not equal 100 grams of food, meaning that 100 grams steak has got approximately 25 grams of protein. Okay, so I've put a couple of things down here. Feel free to pause the video and have a little look and compare. Amongst them, there's some vegetarian options and then there's some non-vegetarian options, just to get a bit of an idea of how much protein is actually in different foods. When it comes to the availability of protein, and the quality of the protein, everything is compared against eggs. So eggs are the best protein source that you can get. They don't have the most protein in them, but they have the most available protein, meaning it's the easiest for your body to break down and use. So just keep that in mind. That's not to say I want you eating a dozen eggs a day, but eggs are good when it comes to protein. All right, the next one here, we've got our EAT, which is our exercise activity thermogenesis. This is our actual exercise. So this is going for a run, anything planned, going to the gym, taking the dog for a walk, going for a surf, anything like that comes under this category. As you can see, it's quite small, only 5% contributor to your total daily energy expenditure. So that's not to say, well, I might as well stop going to the gym then. It's pointless, because it's not. You just need to learn to capitalize on it. So if you are going to be exercising, which obviously is recommended, it is recommended in order to capitalize on this whole system here. So focus on your strength training up the top here, okay? And that's going to help you build lean muscle mass, which is going to in turn help increase your BMR. So in summary, actually, I'm going to go back one slide. There we go. I'll move my head out of the way again. And I just want to talk a little bit more about capitalizing on each of them. So at the top here, our exercise, like I said before, focus on strength training and resistance training. HIIT training is great for a short period of time. However, it is quite uncomfortable. I don't really know anyone who genuinely loves it, especially once you get into strength training, and you'll get a much bigger benefit long-term from strength training. The next one, our thermogenic effect of food, just focus on eating good quality protein meals, whether they're vegetarian or not, that's fine, but just make sure you're getting your protein in. Next one down, just get those steps. Make sure you're getting 10, 15,000 steps a day. Just hit it. It's simple. Get up more, walk around more. If you have to, go for a 20, 30-minute walk every morning. Set your alarm for half an hour more, earlier, I mean. And finally, our BMR. So again, this comes back to our exercise. We can improve this and increase it to be a larger amount of calories simply by building more lean muscle mass. We do that through strength training. All right, now our summary slide, and my head's in the way again. So, as I've just said here, train often, but focus on strength training. Okay, this in turn increases lean muscle mass, which increases your BMR. Walk more, I just mentioned, and eat a high protein diet. So high protein equals muscle growth. You need protein to build protein, right? Our muscles are made up of proteins. You will also burn more energy as you eat, which that is obviously a good thing if you're trying to lose weight. It also means that you can generally eat a bit more without worrying too much about negative consequences. It also decreases the hunger hormone called ghrelin. So this is the little hormone that tells us whether or not we're satisfied. Protein will decrease this, telling our bodies that we've had enough food and sort of allowing us to stop eating more easily. Surprise, surprise, carbohydrates don't do this to our ghrelin hormone. So eating carbs has no effect or a very small effect on that hormone. So that's why you can find that you can generally eat a lot more carbs than you can, say, steak. And it also increases your gluconeogenesis, which is just a super fancy way of saying that your body will create glucose, which it needs for energy, from other stores like fats. So this just means glucose is obviously glucose, neo means new, and genesis means like create. So you're creating new glucose from other sources other than carbohydrates. Thank you very much. I hope that this has been easily understandable for you. If not, just shoot us a message. It can be quite confusing trying to fit it into something succinct. And yeah, well done. Great to have you.